Russian troops are trying to take complete control of Severodonetsk and want to block the Ukrainian forces in Lysychansk. In addition, they continue fighting in the border regions to the northeast of Kharkiv and rebuilding a destroyed railway bridge there. Our heroes hold their positions in Severodonetsk. There are fierce street fights going on there. Lysychansk, Sloviansk, Bakhmut, Sviatorhsk, Avdiivka, Korohove and other places where Russian shelling continues are the hottest spots today. Russian troops want to transfer additional forces to the Donbass, but the Donbass is holding tight. I am grateful to everyone who resists the enormous pressure of the occupiers and defends our country. The Russians began to withdraw their units from Melitopol and Vasiliivka towards Kherson. On the other hand, training on organized conduct of activities related to the transition from peace to war have started in the armed forces of Belarus. In the area of Volyn and Polesha, in the north of Ukraine, the threat of missile and air attacks from the territory of Belarus persists. Even if the soldiers have been training for a long time on the training ground, only the artillery fire shows whether they will be fit for combat. A soldier must be motivated, he must be brave, he must be trained and secured, but a well-dressed and well-fed, unmotivated soldier is not a soldier. Russia began to hand over to Ukraine the bodies of the soldiers who died in Mariupol while defending the Azovstal steelworks. Identification of people based on DNA tests is already carried out in Kiev. Since the beginning of the invasion of Ukraine, Russia has lost over 31,000 soldiers, over 3,400 armoured combat vehicles, 212 aircraft, and 125 cruise missiles. There is still a threat to the nuclear power plant in the Russian-occupied Enogodra near Zaporizhzhia. As Rafael Grossi pointed out, at the request of Kiev, the International Atomic Energy Agency plans to send an international mission of experts there. We are developing ways to send such a mission. Other factors should not prevent this internationally important audit from being performed. There are security standards that may apply in conflict situations, but no security standards under the title war. In turn, the Ukrainian state-owned company Energoatom said that it had not asked for help from the Atomic Energy Agency. We consider this message from the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency as another attempt to legitimize the actions of the occupiers. It was the Russians who disconnected the Ukrainian links with the server. It is known that almost 100 people on the agency's board are Russians, and even Mr. Gross's deputy is a citizen of the Russian Federation. Mr. Gross's previous visits did not bring any solutions. Meanwhile, Russia is blackmailing the world by blocking the export of Ukrainian grain far beyond Ukraine, primarily to Africa.
Russian forces have captured some of Ukraine's most productive farmland. They planted explosives throughout the fields. They've destroyed vital agricultural infrastructure. There are credible reports, including, as we saw in one of our leading newspapers today, that Russia is pilfering Ukraine's grain exports, to sell for its own profit. Now, Russia is hoarding its food exports as well. So this is all deliberate. We know that. President Putin is stopping food from being shipped and aggressively using his propaganda machine to deflect or distort responsibility because it hopes it'll get the world to give in to him and end the sanctions. In other words, quite simply put, it's blackmail.
During the United Nations Security Council meeting, the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, cited reports that Russian troops were using rape of civilians as a weapon. He also accused Russia of using food supplies as a weapon, blocking Ukrainian ports and causing a global food crisis.
A few weeks ago, in Odessa, millions of tons of grain and wheat stuck in containers and ships because of Russian warships in the Black Sea and because of Russia's attack on transport infrastructure. And it is Russian tanks, Russian bombs and mines that are preventing Ukraine from planting and harvesting. The Kremlin is also targeting grain storages and stealing grain in Ukraine while shifting the blame on others. This is cowardly, this is propaganda, pure and simple propaganda.
After these words, the Russian ambassador, Vasily Nebenzia, left the room. Michel added that it was the Russian style, not to hear the truth.